Hello, dear students. A very warm welcome to today's explainer. Today, we're going to be diving into a very short, very simple, but absolutely brilliant poem by the famous American poet Robert Frost. It's called Dust of Snow. Now, it's only 8 lines long, but as we'll see today, it carries a massive, deeply meaningful lesson about life, our perspectives, and our everyday emotions.
But quickly, before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Ace Archive YouTube channel for more CBSE English explanations. It really helps us bring more of these masterclasses directly to you.
All right, let's look at our quick roadmap for today. We'll cover the central idea and theme, the tone of the poem, those all-important figures of speech, do a line-by-line explanation, and finish up with a final summary. Let's jump right in. Starting off with Section 1, Central Idea and Theme, a Larger Significance. We're going to see how a huge meaning can be hidden in a completely ordinary everyday event.
Think about this specific quote from Robert Frost himself. This is actually taken right from your textbook introduction. He once said, "Always, always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing." Just let that sink in for a second, students. Frost is basically telling us that small, unexpected moments, the kinds of things we usually just ignore, can actually have a massive impact on our day, and maybe even our entire outlook on life. And honestly, the core theme of Dust of Snow is exactly this. A tiny, random incident, bringing about a huge, positive shift in a person's state of mind.
And that brings us to another major theme here, nature's healing power. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had just a completely terrible day? Like you're stressed out about your board exams, everything feels like it's going completely wrong, and then suddenly something super small happens. Maybe a really cool breeze hits your face when you step outside, or a stray dog just wags its tail at you, and out of nowhere, you just smile. That heavy, stressful feeling just kind of lifts. Well, that is exactly what Frost is capturing here. Nature has this profound, quiet ability to heal our negative emotions, usually when we least expect it.
Moving right along to Section 2, the shift in tone, from gloom to hope. Let's talk about the emotional roller coaster the poet takes us on.
So, in poetry, tone is simply the mood, right? It's the feeling the writer's giving us. In stanza 1, the tone is really gloomy, sad, depressed. The poet is just having a spectacularly bad day. But by stanza 2, there's a sudden, total emotional shift. The tone becomes hopeful, relieved, and completely changed. The dark clouds in his mind have totally cleared up. This beautiful, sharp contrast is literally the beating heart of the entire poem.
Okay, Section 3, Important Figures of Speech Equipping Your Toolkit. Think of these as the special literary tools you need to highlight to get those full marks from your examiners.
Let's break down the symbolism first. Symbolism is when an object represents a bigger idea or feeling. Now, usually, poets love writing about beautiful things, right? Singing nightingales, majestic oak trees, lovely maple leaves. But Frost? He makes a really unconventional choice here. He chooses a crow, which traditionally represents sorrow or negativity. And he chooses a hemlock tree, which is literally a poisonous plant that represents a dark, gloomy setting. But then, right in the middle of that, we have the dust of snow. This fine white snow represents sudden joy, positivity, and a cleansing change. This brilliantly illustrates Frost's genius. He uses dark, completely negative symbols to actually bring about a wonderfully positive result.
Next up, let's secure some more easy marks by looking at the musicality of the poem. The rhyme scheme is a super simple, rhythmic A-B-A-B for the first stanza and C-D-C-D for the second. It reads almost like a little nursery rhyme, which honestly makes the deep philosophical message hit even harder. We also have alliteration, which, as a reminder, is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of closely placed words. For example, saved some, notice how that S sound repeats, and has given my heart, the H sound is repeated there. Make absolutely sure you memorize these 2 clear examples for your exams.
And the final poetic device in our toolkit is enjambment. Now, I know that sounds like a big, complex word, but it is actually so simple. Enjambment is just when a sentence flows across multiple lines of poetry without any punctuation marks, like commas or full stops at the end of the line. If you look at the poem in your textbook, you'll see there is 0 punctuation at the ends of the lines. In fact, the entire 8-line poem is literally just one single continuous flowing sentence. This continuous flow perfectly mimics the gentle, uninterrupted, continuous falling of the snow from the branches. It's so clever.
All right, students, let's apply all this knowledge. Section 4, line-by-line explanation. Let's look at stanza 1.
Let me read this out for you nice and clearly. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow,
from a hemlock tree. Now picture the scene in your mind. The poet is walking outside in the dead of winter, feeling deeply sad and depressed. He's walking beneath a tree. Up above him, a crow makes some sudden movement. Maybe it adjusts its wings, or maybe it's just taking flight. This simple, everyday action shakes the branches, and a fine, soft shower of snow, this dust of snow, falls directly onto the poet. It establishes a very cold, very still, and very melancholic atmosphere right from the jump.
And just to reinforce exactly how gloomy this moment is initially, look at the glossary definition of a hemlock tree, straight out of your NCERT textbook. It is a poisonous plant with small white flowers. The poet is literally standing under a poisonous tree, having freezing snow shaken onto him by a dark, ominous bird. The negativity of his day is perfectly reflected in his dark, quiet surroundings.
Now for the magic. Line-by-line explanation. Stanza 2. I want you to watch carefully for that sudden emotional shift we talked about earlier. Has given my heart a change of mood, and saved some part of a day I had rued. That soft, freezing touch of the snow falling on his shoulders, it literally snaps the poet out of his depressing thoughts. It gives his heart an immediate change of mood. The day which he honestly thought was a complete and total waste is no longer entirely ruined. This tiny, seemingly completely insignificant act of nature has broken his cycle of sadness. It has literally saved the remaining part of his day.
Let's pause for some vocabulary here. The textbook defines rude as held in regret. Before this moment under the tree, the poet was holding on to a lot of regret. He was just dragging his sadness around, totally convinced the entire day was a disaster. But nature intervened. The falling snow washed away that regret, leaving him feeling awakened, present, and totally relieved.
We have covered some fantastic material today, students. Let's wrap things up with Section 5, Summary and Final Thoughts.
Let's review the key takeaways, which you should definitely be including in your long-form exam answers. Number 1, small things matter. You don't need some grand dramatic life event to improve your mood. Sometimes it really is just a single snowflake. Number 2, nature can heal our deepest emotions. It has this quiet, persistent power to comfort and reset us. And number 3, positivity can come from the most unexpected places. Remember, Frost didn't find his joy from a beautiful singing bird, but from a dark crow and a literally poisonous hemlock tree. Goodness and hope can be found anywhere if we are just open to experiencing them.
I want to leave you with a really thought-provoking question, taken straight from your textbook's Thinking About the Poem section. Have there been times when you felt depressed or hopeless? And have you ever experienced a similar moment, something so small and unexpected that completely changed your mood that day? Take a little time to reflect on how this 100-year-old poem still applies perfectly to your own daily life. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Keep studying hard, keep noticing those small, beautiful things around you, and I will see you all in the very next lesson.